One thing people I know at the moment will be probably noticing with me is how I am transforming. So currently I am in the process of going through a transformation period within myself. I'm stepping into the version of myself I need to be to create success and change in my life. One of the things I've been working on is the fact that I am looking at something known as a winning strategy, which was designed through a woman called Tracy. I want to say Tracy Cox. It'll come back to me, or I'll get the book at some point. So I've been working with another coach the last few months to work on what my winning strategy is. Now, essentially, we all have a way we approach life, all of us. We all have a reason for survival. And we have this survival mechanism in place with every action we take, to the point where we don't even realise we are doing it. It is so neatly ingrained within our way of being, to the point that it's actually holding us back. And one of the things I've realised recently is mine is actually to do with love and rejection. So on one end, I'm trying to get love and appreciation. On another end, I'm trying to avoid rejection. And in doing so, I have learnt to be the perfect person, of course. Don't we all? But in the process, I've realised that actually, over the last few years, I've been seeing a repeated pattern in behaviour or experiences that keep coming my way. And although it's got a different face, a different hat or whatever, it's still showing me the same behaviours, the same ways of acting and the same mechanisms. And what I've had to start doing is really understand my winning strategy and the very essence of why I am doing this every single bit of behaviour in my life, and recognising it and shining a light on it and being like, oh, actually, is that doing me justice? So it means that when I approach certain things, there's always a how things should be and how things shouldn't be. And what I'm trying to do is essentially manipulate the situation to allow it to turn out how it should be. Now, some people might manipulate the situation through aggression or through anger or through working their absolute arse off until they get the job done. In my situation, it's my people-pleasing nature. It's very much learning how to know and understand people so I can better connect, so I'm always getting the love and belonging that I want. And the thing that I've started to realise is that actually sometimes by going into that process, I'm not listening to what I need. I'm so good at pushing down my own feelings, pushing down my own wants and desires to try and get what the person who is in front of me, what I perceive they need. And sometimes that is out of manipulation. And I don't mean to manipulate in any way, shape or form. It comes from a good place. But I also end up putting my own life and my own health at risk. And I'm not going to lie, I have generally put my own life at risk before. One example was when I jumped off a mountain to go and save the child I was looking after on a ski, when I worked for a ski company. I jumped off the mountain without even thinking about me. All I could think about was that child needs saving. But also, when I look back at it, there was probably a huge part of me going, oh my God, that child is my responsibility. If something happens to him, then that is going to cause a lot of issues for me. Also, mentally, it's going to cause problems as well. But there is always this underlying theme to how we are behaving in life and how we are approaching life. And the funny thing is, it's all in our head. It's all a game we have created in our own minds that we don't even realise by playing it. We are on autopilot every single day of our lives. And the thing I've started to realise is actually when you start to shine the light on these aspects of your life, the thing you've always wanted, the thing that you've always desired, and in my case, it's love and belonging and being loved unconditionally, the very thing that was always at arm's reach but I can never truly have, starts to become my reality every single day, I start to have more choice in how I decide to take action. I start to have more control and more power. I stop giving my power to everything else in life and start taking accountability and action for the now. And the beauty is, I'm not controlling how life goes. I'm not controlling how life turns out. But what I am doing is actually giving myself the space to reflect, to observe my actions and behaviours, and start to take the steps that takes me in the direction that I want, takes me towards the version of myself that I want to be. And by doing that, I'm starting to live more and more in that space from that place every single day. And it is still very early days, and I am very grateful for the fact that the work I've done for the last 6 years is feeding into this, especially the last year of my coaching work, with my NLP work. It's all given me such an awareness of myself anyway. So the journey is moving more smoothly than I could have wished for. But don't get me wrong, there have also been moments where I've been absolutely crying, curled up on a ball on the floor, because I've realised how much I push my emotions down to appease other people's feelings, to the point where I end up feeling like my brain and my body are contradicting each other. So, for example, a situation could happen where I'm like, it's fine. And actually, it's not okay. It's not okay. I had a friend, bless her heart, she meant well, but asked if I wanted a cigarette the other day. Asked if she could smoke in the car. I don't smoke. Asked if she could smoke in the car. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I kind of went, I don't want that. Why have I said yes, sure, without even thinking? And because of the work I was doing, I did say to them later, actually, I wasn't okay with that. Like, I should have said I wasn't okay with that. And they were really apologetic, and I was like, it's fine. You don't have to apologise. I should have said no to begin with. And it's one of those things when you start to realise how much your body just goes into autopilot. There was another situation where something had upset me, and logically I could explain the situation. I could justify it because it was fair enough. Like, you know, it made sense logically. But my body was still like, I'm upset by this. I'm feeling rejected right now. I just want to cry. And mentally, logically, I'm like, no, it's fine. I understand why. It makes so much sense. It's absolutely fine. Probably tell by my voice that I was a bit trying to push out an idea that wasn't actually there. But I realised I became so used to pushing my feelings down that I wasn't actually feeling them. And I wasn't actually allowing myself to heal from them. So a couple of days after something, that whole week, I don't know if you find this, but life can sometimes throw a lot of stuff at you in a week, because it's like, this is the lesson you're going to be learning this week. And there was a day where I just felt heavy, and everything, just the whole world just felt like it was really laying on my back, like just there constantly being like, this is going to make you feel really sad. But because you're now aware that you can't push your feelings down, you are now going to have to process it. So I decided to do just that. I decided to sit with my body and just kind of feel sorry for myself, have my little violin going, and just allow myself to feel sad. And actually, because I did that, I ended up having people unintentionally at the time reach out to me. And I actually ended up talking about it, processing it. But it also came from a processed place, because I'd allowed myself to sit with it for a bit. I allowed myself to express what it was I was feeling. And then I was able to go, actually, the reality of the situation is this. The story I am telling myself in this situation is this. And I was able to process things much better. And then after that, amazing things happened. I was able to articulate my boundaries much better with people. I was able to actually clearly say, something you're saying doesn't make me happy. And I like, or the story I'm telling myself, which is a line that I've picked up somewhere, and I think it's a really good way of dealing with things. I was like, the story I'm telling myself in this situation is that you making that joke makes me unhappy. And it makes me feel like my emotions aren't respected or valued. And because I came from a place of strength and a place of power, I was able to clearly go, this is my boundary. I would appreciate it if you would respect it. But there was also no expectations from the person to apologise, to tell me that they were wrong. There was nothing there. It was just, this is my boundary, please respect it. So by going through a week of feeling like I was pushing down my emotions and recognising it, to by the end of the week being able to actually say, this is how I'm feeling, and this is the boundaries I would like to put in place, was incredible. And the more I'm becoming aware of these things, the more I'm able to go, who am I being in this moment? How am I approaching this situation, and who do I wish to be? Kind of like, it makes me think of stars in their eyes when they're like, who do you want to be today? And it's like, oh, today I'm going to be a person who sets boundaries, or today I'm going to be a person who is excited by life and enthusiastic. And I did that today. Today I'm a person who's excited by life, and I've just enjoyed the day by expressing myself creatively, authentically and purely. And it's actually ended up leading to me talking about this. But I think it's so important for us to realise that actually we have so much more power than I think we allow ourselves to believe, or even think that it's true. I think so many of us have, well, actually maybe the whole of humanity has been made to believe that there is a lack, and because of that lack we must behave in a certain way. And although we're no longer living in a way that is survival, we're no longer having to hunt or fight. Obviously there are places in the world that are at the moment, and I understand that it's a very different perspective from many of us who aren't experiencing that. But if you are living in an environment where you have a roof over your head, where you have education, where you have food on your table, you're not having to fight for survival. But the reality is we are fighting for survival every day, because our brain is telling us that if we do not do X or Y, it will lead to the worst thing that could ever happen to us. So in my case, if I don't get love and appreciation, I'm going to end up abandoned and alone and rejected. And if I'm rejected, I will not survive. And there are so many of us who have something like that. Well, all of us have something like that in our lives. We are living to survive. And because of that, we then try to enforce what we think should be happening and shouldn't be happening in the world. Which is when people try to force us to live a life they feel we should be living. It's when people who are of greater power decide to take control of who we are, because they think that's how we should be living our lives. We all have our own versions of this, and some of it is minor, but in some cases it is extreme. There are people out there who are enforcing their power in a way because they feel that the other side is wrong. And it's all coming from this place of who we believe we are, what we are trying to prevent as a worst case scenario, what we are trying to achieve in our own scenario, and the different beliefs and experiences we have that reinforce that world and that idea. But the reality is it's all within our own mind, it's all within our own power. It does take an incredible amount of work to achieve it, but the trick is we have the power to make the change we want in our life. We have the capacity to make the change we desire in our life. But we first need to be aware of where we are coming from to begin with. We need to know why we are trying to survive, what we are trying to avoid, and what we are trying to move towards. Because once you're aware of that, you can start to look at every single action and every single behaviour you take in your life, and you can understand where you are trying to go. Because when you unpack all of this, when you look at all of this, start to realise there's a side that isn't very pretty. And it's actually quite selfish. And that's hard. That's a really hard place to observe. It's not fun. That part is not fun. The fun part is when you realise you can change it. when you realise that you can take the next steps and the next actions to be the version of you you've always known you could be. Or even if you didn't know you could be, you raise that bar. Because we're all trying to control how life turns out. We are all trying to control our outcome and our eventuality. But at the end of the day, life is unpredictable. We have no idea where life's going to lead us. Life is just life. There is no shoulds or shouldn'ts. Life is just life. Life is. And every day we are essentially trying to survive it in some way or another. And by trying to survive it, we are trying to gain control. We're trying to gain security. The irony is, a lot of the work I've been doing this last probably year or two has very much drawn me to Maslow's, and how so much of our ability to achieve self-actualization in life is by having our security needs met. And although that is still very, very, very much the case, there is almost this entrapment with our ideals and how actually there is security in life. We've managed to find it as a humanity, as a human race. We've managed to find security. We've managed to find safety within the world. We've managed to find a form of security, a form of structure. But sometimes that structure makes us believe that we are inevitable. And it can also get us stuck in a process of, that is impossible, so I cannot achieve it. And then we get to a point in life where we're not happy, and we're not living the life that we thought we would, because we've done everything. We've ticked all the boxes that everyone has told us to tick. We've got to 30 and we've got a house, we've got a relationship, we've got a marriage, we've got kids. And then suddenly people look at their life and they're like, wait, this isn't my life. This is the life I thought I needed, not what I needed. So the more we start to look at ourselves, the more we can start to go, this is the life I want. This is the life I desire. Forget other people at this moment. What is it you want? And by doing that, you start to find the people that want to align with you. You start to find the people that see you for you. You start to surround yourself with people that give you the energy and excitement for life to go out and be who you can be in this world. We all have the choice. It's just whether we have the courage to take the next step.